In times of crisis, misinformation often surges on social media, and those wildfires on the west coast of the United States, they're of no exception. This often happens when there's a vacuum of information. We're only starting to understand how many of these wildfires began. For example, in Portland, Oregon, we know that at least one wildfire began because of a Molotov cocktail. That's according to police there. But in the latter stages of last week, moving into the weekend, there was a wave of misinformation online. There was claims that extremist groups had coordinated to start these fires intentionally, this along political lines. There were people saying that there was ultra-left-leaning groups had started it, or ultra-right-leaning groups, many pointing to the group Antifa. So much so that the FBI in Portland had to issue their own statement saying that they'd investigated several of these reports, that they'd found no such evidence to back up these theories, and then said that conspiracy theories really do have a real-world consequence, that misinformation takes valuable resources away at a time when they simply don't need this kind of misinformation circulating online. And so we saw Andy Stone on Sunday, he's the head of communications at Facebook, issuing his own statement saying that Facebook had started to take down, that they were taking down misinformation related to this, saying that they were removing posts related to Oregon, that people have been saying that these fires were started by certain groups. They said this was based on confirmation from law enforcement. They said this was backed up. This is the same as their previous efforts to take down posts that could lead to an imminent threat to harm. Now, in the days since, we've taken a look as to see what kind of posts have been circulating online. We look at CrowdTangle. It's a tool that we use to analyse likes, comments and shares on Facebook. They're called interactions. And in the past 24 hours, looking up the words Antifa and fire, there have been 1.4 million interactions. Bearing in mind, these aren't just misleading posts. Many of these posts are news articles or statements that have been released, but some at least are indeed misleading. Let's just take a look at some of the top performing posts due to interactions. We know that these three memes are among the top performing due to those words Antifa and fire on Facebook, and these memes are misleading. They are inaccurate. Taking a look at this meme that has been widely shared, that's at least 1,000 interactions cumulatively in the top three posts alone. It claims that this man here, we've blurred out his face, we've blurred out expletives too. He says that he doesn't like the way Antifa likes to catch fire on things, pushing again this unfounded conspiracy theory, saying that this man had went to their house and burnt their car down. This is not true, and we know it's not true because this meme has been circulating widely before. Taking a look, reverse search, which means you look as to where this meme appeared first on the internet, it is 165 results, and the earliest we could find it was back in 2014, and this shows how memes, even if they're meant for comedic use, can be used to spur on a particular political narrative which can sow misinformation. But this wasn't the only post that has sowed misinformation in the past few days. For example, that post has already been flagged as inaccurate by third-party fact-checkers. This post, though, has not been. Now, this post says this: before you blame climate change for the wildfires, ask yourself this question. Did it skip Mexico and Canada? Pointing to these granular, they're quite grainy memes here, suggesting that there's no wildfires below or above these borders. This is pretty easily checkable. For example, we just go on to NASA, their fire observatory, and you can see that the wildfires are pretty common in places, you know, for example, in South America, there are wildfires here too, and they're also on the west coast, and they've definitely been intensifying in the west coast. There's absolutely no doubt about that. This shows how misinformation can be spurred on social media. Many questioning whether social media platforms should be doing more to tackle this.